Hey everyone, it's your girl Jen, and for this video I am tackling something that I've always wanted to do, which is to become a better writer. Like, I've always had this fantasy of becoming a writer, and I live in the woods in a log cabin and I write with a quill or a typewriter and I'll write all my magical stories there. But before I get to that point, I should probably work on my storytelling abilities. So for this video, I have partnered with Google and they have gifted me their Pixelbook Go, and I'll be using this guy to kind of take me on this journey on becoming a better writer. Phase 1, finding a class. I'm opening up my Pixelbook Go and I love this thing. It's super lightweight and barely weighs 2 pounds, so I can take it anywhere. I'm also very impatient, so I love that it starts up in seconds so I can start cracking on straight away. I have always been a G Suite gal. I surf on Chrome, use Gmail, Gcal, Google Docs, Slides, Drive. I pretty much do everything on Google, and once you log into your account, everything is already synced up. It's freaking great. So now let's Google some writing classes in my area, and as you can see, there are a lot of options, but I'm gonna commit to the writing pad. There's good reviews and there are a lot of different classes to take. And I think I'm gonna join the storytelling class, so let's go with that. It's a 5-week program that happens every Monday, so now I'm gonna add all the dates to my Gcal, and now we wait for the first class. It's week 1, and I had no idea what to expect, but I packed my Pixelbook Go to jot down any notes. I didn't bother packing the charger because it can stay unplugged for up to 12 hours. The battery life is insane. So I drove off to class, and then I came back. And I was a little disgruntled that I didn't get any B-roll of the classroom, but I'll explain more inside. Just not the place to film. Like, it's a very intimate and small class. There were maybe 8 of us, and I love our teacher. Her name is Lauren. I got a little curveball. The final assignment is us reading our story out loud to just our friends and family and whoever else is invited to this event. And I wasn't expecting public speaking to be a factor here, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Lauren said the most powerful stories are the ones that have actually happened to you. So she kind of got the ball rolling by throwing a couple of themes. She said shame, betrayal, catharsis, and I stopped at shame because I have a lot of stories involving that theme. And I think I want to talk about a story that happened to me in high school that just changed how I felt about myself, about friendship. So I don't know, I feel really inspired, so I just want to get started right now. So I'm going to set up shop here, and then, you know, Ben's like already in bed.
I'm trying to sleep here, guys.
I know, it's like 10 o'clock, but I opened up my Pixelbook Go, and I'm just going to go on Google Docs, and I'm just gonna start the rough draft of my essay. And also, I love the keyboard on the Pixelbook Go. They have hush keys, so they're really, really quiet and satisfying to type on. Like, listen. Like, they're so quiet! So it's really great for public settings if you don't wanna, you know, make a commotion with the clacking of your keyboard. And it's really great for, you know, Ben being on the other side of the bed. He doesn't have to hear me.
Thank you, Google. I can sleep.
So it is week 2 now, and I am modifying my draft to make sure that it hits the story spine. The main thing in a story is that there needs to be dramatic tension, and it should start right when the catalyst begins. And the catalyst is the thing that makes the story change. Like, it's the reason why the story is happening. And so it'll build, and then you hit the climax, which is like where like the mic drops, where the tea is spilt. And then that's when the dramatic tension is supposed to end, and then you wrap up your story. Hi guys, it is week 4 now, and I actually missed class for week 3, so my bad. Pretty much on my final draft. Right now, the teacher just wants me to expand the story more somehow, but I feel like this is it. Like, I don't feel like there's anything more, but I'm gonna try and squeeze some more things out. We are on week 5. I've got a couple of days before the actual storytelling event, and I am just making sure I get my practice in. Our teacher Lauren stressed the difference between a page versus the stage. Like, there is a big difference on how a story sounds like on paper and when you say it out loud on a stage, like conversationally. And she basically wants us to sound as natural as possible and avoid memoir voice, which literally means that like you're reading out loud from paper. So in order to avoid this, I'm using my Pixelbook Go I am gonna record myself to make sure that I sound natural, and I'm also gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. I'm gonna use my Google Assistant to start a timer and start practicing. Hey Google, start a timer for 5 minutes.
Sure, 5 minutes. And we're starting now.
Our next storyteller is Jenn M. Please welcome Jenn.
So I was always a floater in school. I didn't have a gang or a group of friends, but that yearning was definitely there. But everything changed when I turned 16. I had finally found a clique. And there were 3 of us, and I feel like in any group of friends, there's like kind of a hierarchy, low key. So the queen bee was Natasha, and she was everything I wanted to be. Tall, thin, beautiful, and she was like talented at everything. She was like your true Renaissance woman. And then there was Raquel. Raquel was like the edgy, boisterous one, always with like the crazy plans, and she was new in school. So I introduced myself to her in stats class. And it's a little fuzzy on how we all like became a trio, but we started to have lunch together every day, and I was stoked. I was like, oh my God, like I'm part of this group. And suddenly I felt this pressure to be a good friend. And for some reason that meant to like look good in front of them, like have a good outfit to present to them. And so this is when like my obsession with clothing really started to ramp up. I would save up my lunch money and then blow it on clothes. And I remember this one time Raquel let me borrow $20, and I never paid her back because she never asked for it. So I thought it was like kind of a situation where if she needed the money, then she would just invoice me. And so I just like let it go. Another highlight was when Natasha let me borrow her beautiful blazer. It had gold buttons, and I was like obsessed with it. And I also had zero intentions of giving this blazer back to her because it was like a part of Natasha that was like in my closet. And during this time, Natasha and Raquel were getting closer and closer, and I was starting to feel like the third wheel. I was like, hello, like I'm here. And they would have like these inside jokes and side conversations. They had this notebook that they would pass around in class because back in the day, texting was really expensive, so writing in a notebook was the most economical way to communicate. And it just drove me crazy. But my redeeming quality was I was the first of my friends to get my driver's license. I inherited my brother's Honda Accord, and I would drive us from point A to point B, and it wasn't my favorite activity because I was technically breaking the law, because when you first get your license, you're not allowed to have anyone in the car without a license with you. So I was just like a ball of anxiety, just being like, okay, we're here, like get out. And so one time I dropped all the girls off at home, and I look in the back seat, and guess what I find? I find their notebook. And I'm really excited, and I really wish that I had some moral restraint of being like, oh no, like I don't want to invade their privacy, but I tore into it straight up. And I'm like, hey, like I can finally see their intimate and private world. And it's fun. Until like my eyes laser to my name. Like suddenly I see like pages and pages about me, and they're not good things. You know, they brought up how I still owed Raquel $20. They pointed out that I still have Natasha's blazer, and just the fact that like I'm always like high strung and nervous, and there's like some other things in there, but they're ranting. And I'm just frozen. I feel exposed, I feel like a reject, and it hurt. And it hurt because they had a point. So I cry, I'm upset, and the next day I give the notebook back, and I'm like completely normal. I'm like, here you go, like I didn't read it, you know? And you know, I never confronted them about it. To this day, they have no idea that I read that notebook. And I was just like in full damage control mode. I was like, okay, like eventually I paid Raquel back the $20 in segments. I gave back the blazer back to Natasha, and like when I'm driving, I'm like, I'm cool, I'm chill. And you know, we graduated, and that moment was really important to me because it highlighted the fact on why I was a floater in the past. I didn't know how to be a good friend. And I know it's like common sense to, you know, give back things that belong to people and pay people back and be like good energy. But at the time, I thought being a good friend was looking good. And I feel like when you're younger, you learn by messing up. When you do something wrong, someone tells you, and if it's warranted, you change. That's the only way you can evolve. And it really set me up for the friends that I have today, because with age comes self-awareness, and I feel like my sense of community will always be strong. And I'm really happy with my community today, and some of them are here tonight, which I love. And I hope that if they ever have an issue with me, they tell it to my face and not in a notebook, so I can continue to evolve. Thank you. Guys, this is the last update, and I'm really happy with the way I said my story. I also definitely want to take another writing class, but this time I think I'm gonna head towards the nonfiction, or maybe the fiction, I don't know. But either way, I want to thank Google and Pixelbook Go for helping me with this journey, and now I am tagging Dulce Candy to do this challenge as well. I will leave her video in the description box, so definitely check it out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Mwah. Oh.